He built an empire nobody in the West could see. 1 billion people used his product every single day. He owned the games, the payments, the conversations. His name was Pony Ma. This is his story. One quiet man, $1 trillion shadow empire. Shenzhen, 1971. A boy born into change. China was transforming. His city was the laboratory. He loved stars. His telescope pointed at Halley's Comet. That comet photo earned him his first real money. Computers became his obsession. Code was his language. University, computer science. He hacked the campus mainframe. His thesis was a stock market prediction program. He sold it for 3 times his annual salary. At 22, he joined a telecom firm, learned the system, waited. Then the internet arrived, and everything changed forever. 1998. 5 friends, 1 rented office in Shenzhen. Their bank account held exactly $1,000. They saw ICQ Israel's messaging app and took notes. Don't blindly innovate. Learn first, then surpass. They built OICQ smaller, faster, built for China. 1 million users. Year 1. He couldn't believe it. Year 2, 50 million. Year 3, 100 million. But zero revenue. The users came. The money didn't. He almost sold QQ for $60,000. Nobody wanted it. Rejected. Again and again. He never stopped building. The darkest hour. He pretended to be a girl on QQ. He flooded his own chat rooms to fake activity. His wife found him there. Her handle, Penguin Mom. Love found in the machine he almost gave away. Then a lifeline. IDG Capital called, $2.2 million. Then Naspers, $32 million, from South Africa. That stake would one day be worth hundreds of billions. He added virtual items, digital clothes for penguin avatars. Teenagers paid real money for digital hats. Brilliant. First profitable year, $1.2 million. The engine started. Microsoft launched MSN Messenger. Tencent fought back fiercely. Speed was his weapon. He out-updated every rival. By 2004, Tencent listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. The IPO was just the beginning, not the destination. 534 million QQ users by late 2005. With 500 million users and no debt, he began building what would become the world's most dominant digital ecosystem. His first major move was into online gaming, a sector he recognized as the next frontier for digital monetization in China. Tencent launched its first original online game in 2003, and within 2 years it became one of China's top gaming platforms. Gaming revenue transformed the company, providing massive recurring cash flows that funded every future expansion. By 2005, QQ had expanded into a full portal: news, music, email, shopping all under one roof. He wasn't just building an app. He was building an entire virtual nation with its own economy. The internal culture was fierce. Pony Ma ran what insiders called the shark womb strategy. Multiple internal teams competed on the same product. Only the strongest idea survived and reached the market. This strategy of brutal internal competition consistently produced better products than any single team could deliver alone. He hosted what executives called the Conference of the Gods elite strategic summits to map global domination. Then, in 2007, smartphones began reshaping the world. Pony Ma saw the shift before most of his rivals did. He was deeply afraid that a mobile competitor would destroy Tencent before it could adapt to the new era. He ordered 3 separate teams to race each other in building Tencent's mobile messenger. The stakes were existential. On the 21st of January 2011, WeChat was born. It launched quietly, with no advertising campaign. WeChat grew from 0 to 100 million users in 14 months, the fastest adoption of any app in Chinese history. WeChat wasn't just a messenger, it was designed from day one to be a platform for all of life. In 2013, he added WeChat Pay, giving 500 million users a digital wallet linked directly to their bank accounts. He deployed a stroke of genius for Chinese New Year: red envelopes, virtual gifts sent through WeChat Pay. On Chinese New Year 2015, users sent over 1 billion digital red envelopes in a single day. WeChat Pay became unstoppable. WeChat Pay and Alipay together captured over 90% of China's digital payment market, a duopoly of historic scale. WeChat Pay generated over 1 billion transactions per day. The infrastructure of daily Chinese commerce ran through his servers. In 2017, he introduced WeChat Mini Programs apps within the app, eliminating the need to download anything separately. With mini programs, WeChat became the operating system of 1.4 billion lives. No device needed to escape it. The average Chinese WeChat user spent 4 hours per day inside the app. 4 hours of their life, every day. With WeChat commanding daily life, Tencent turned its attention to becoming the world's dominant gaming empire. In 2011, Tencent acquired Riot Games, the studio behind League of Legends, for approximately $400 million. League of Legends became the most played PC game on the planet, with over 100 million registered accounts at its peak. In 2012, he invested $330 million for a 40% stake in Epic Games, the studio that would later create Fortnite. Fortnite alone generated over $20 billion in revenue, making that early investment one of the greatest bets in tech history. In 2016, Tencent led an $8.6 billion acquisition of Supercell, the Finnish studio behind Clash of Clans. Supercell's games were already generating over $2 billion annually. It was the largest tech deal in Finnish history. He also created Honor of Kings in-house, which became the highest-grossing mobile game in the entire world. Honor of Kings peaked at over 100 million daily active players in China alone, a gaming phenomenon unlike anything before it. PUBG Mobile, rebranded as Game for Peace in China, generated hundreds of millions more through mobile battle royale gaming. By 2023, Tencent was the single largest gaming company on Earth, bigger than Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox combined. But gaming and messaging were only two pillars. The empire was designed to be much, much larger. Tencent Music launched, becoming China's dominant music streaming platform with hundreds of millions of subscribers. Tencent Pictures invested in blockbusters like Men in Black, International, extending cultural reach into Western entertainment. Tencent Cloud grew into one of Asia's largest cloud computing platforms, competing directly with Amazon Web Services and Alibaba. The empire now stretched across social media, gaming, payments, music, film, cloud computing, AI, and health technology. In 2021, Tencent reported $86 billion in total annual revenue, with $35 billion in net profit. By 2024, total revenue reached $92 billion, up 8% year-over-year, driven by gaming and AI. Pony Ma had always been an introvert, but his silence was strategic, not weakness. He let the empire speak for him. Unlike Jack Ma, who courted media attention, Pony Ma preferred to build without noise, operating always from the shadows. That invisible strategy made him, at his peak, one of the 5 wealthiest people on the planet. In 2017, Tencent's market valuation surpassed Facebook, reaching $528 billion and shocking Wall Street. The company was now approaching a $1 trillion valuation, a number almost incomprehensible for a Chinese internet firm. Pony Ma then shifted strategy again. Instead of building everything himself, he became the world's most active startup investor. His philosophy was surgical. Take minority stakes in innovative companies, then supercharge them with WeChat traffic and distribution. In 2017, he purchased a 5% stake in Tesla for $1.78 billion, becoming a top shareholder. He invested $150 million in Reddit, the American discussion platform, gaining a foothold in Western social media. He took a 9.1% stake in Spotify and a $2 billion position in Snapchat. He acquired a 20% stake in Universal Music Group, one of the three major global music labels. His global investment portfolio eventually stretched across over 700 companies on 6 continents. This wasn't random diversification. Each investment was a strategic node in a global network he was quietly assembling. Tencent used WeChat's billion-user traffic as leverage, effectively taxing the digital economy through its platform dominance. If your business needed access to China's 1.4 billion consumers, you needed WeChat. That gave Tencent extraordinary leverage. WeChat's Moments feature its social newsfeed became a billion-dollar advertising channel almost overnight. But unlike Facebook, advertising was never Tencent's primary engine. Only 18% of revenue came from ads in 2016. Tencent's model was built on virtual goods, subscriptions, transactions, and platform fees, a far more durable revenue structure. WeBank, Tencent's digital bank, launched as China's first fully online bank, eventually serving 340 million users. The empire now included a fully operational digital bank, lending trillions of yuan annually to consumers and small businesses. Then came the challenge that would test everything he had built. A challenge not from a competitor, but from his own government. The Chinese government had long tolerated Tencent's growth, but by 2021, the relationship began to fracture significantly. Beijing introduced sweeping anti-monopoly regulations targeting tech giants. Tencent was fined billions in penalties. The government restricted children to just 3 hours of gaming per week, targeting Tencent's most profitable demographic. The crackdown was swift and severe. Tencent lost over $500 billion in market value, more than half its peak worth. To survive, Pony Ma donated $15 billion to social causes, signaling total alignment with government priorities. He released a game called Clap for Xi Jinping, a direct signal of loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party leadership. This duality defined Tencent's greatest paradox: the world's most powerful digital empire, beholden to a single political authority. Meanwhile, WeChat's surveillance architecture was fully exposed. Every message was scanned, every keyword monitored by the state. Private chats were filtered for banned terms: Tiananmen, Tibet, democracy. Group chat admins were held personally liable. Amnesty International rated Tencent 0 out of 100 for user data privacy, the lowest possible score. Tencent fed behavioral data into China's social credit system, enabling the state to reward and punish citizens at will. The reach of this system extended to travel bans, loan denials, and school admissions for families rated too low. In 2020, India banned WeChat as a national security threat, removing it from one of the world's largest user markets. Donald Trump signed an executive order attempting to ban WeChat in the United States, citing national security concerns. Tencent's cultural power was also felt in Western sports. NBA executive Daryl Morey tweeted support for Hong Kong in 2019. Tencent immediately suspended NBA broadcasts in China, costing the league hundreds of millions in revenue. A single tweet silenced a billion-dollar deal. Tencent's ability to weaponize market access proved that economic power had become its most potent geopolitical instrument. Through every storm regulation, geopolitical tension, market crashes, Tencent adapted, restructured, and re-emerged stronger each time. By 2025, Tencent had rebuilt its valuation to over $700 billion, with international gaming revenue growing more than 30% annually. Tencent's AI division began generating $30 billion in new market value within weeks of launching its agentic AI platform in 2025. The next frontier was artificial intelligence. Tencent pledged to double AI spending and embed AI across every product in its ecosystem. Elon Musk looked at WeChat and said it was the exact blueprint he wanted to replicate with X, the Western everything app. That single fact may be Pony Ma's most lasting legacy. He invented the template for how a digital platform becomes a civilization's infrastructure. The first business lesson from Tencent's rise is this: you do not need to invent, you need to understand what works and execute it better than anyone. Pony Ma copied ICQ and built QQ. He studied Facebook and built WeChat. Improvement at scale is more powerful than raw invention. The second lesson: control the platform. Not just a product, the entire infrastructure that others depend on to reach their customers. Whoever owns the platform owns the toll road. Tencent never sold products, it sold access, and access is the ultimate business model. The third lesson: compete against yourself before your rivals do. Tencent's shark womb culture ensured that no outside competitor could outpace its internal innovation. The fourth lesson is the most sobering. The greatest empires are also the most fragile because they depend entirely on the goodwill of the governments that permit them to exist. No matter how large Tencent grew, it could never fully own its destiny in a system where the state holds ultimate authority over every enterprise. This is the tension that defines all great modern empires: power versus freedom, scale versus sovereignty, dominance versus dependence. Yet, even within these constraints, Tencent built something that no Western company had ever achieved: a true total life digital ecosystem adopted by over 1 billion people. This was not built through military force, geopolitical dominance, or inherited wealth. It was built through understanding human behavior better than anyone else. Every feature WeChat ever added, from moments to mini programs to red envelopes, came from deeply observing what people actually needed in their daily lives. Tencent's gaming empire was built the same way: buy the studios making games people love, then supercharge them with resources and distribution. Riot Games went from a small Los Angeles startup to producing the world's most watched esports events with Tencent's capital behind every step. Supercell's Clash of Clans became one of the highest-grossing mobile games in history, generating over $1 billion every single year after the acquisition. Pony Ma proved that the most intelligent empire builders of the 21st century are not industrialists, they are ecosystem architects. He did not build one company. He built a digital nation, a sovereign economy with its own currency, culture, commerce, and communication. Tencent's philanthropic arm eventually channeled billions into education technology, rural healthcare, and poverty alleviation across China. The tension between Tencent's surveillance role and its genuine social investment made it one of the most morally complex corporations in human history. The Naspers investment story alone stands as perhaps the greatest return in venture capital history. $32 million in 2001 became a stake worth hundreds of billions. It is a reminder that identifying transformational companies early and holding conviction creates generational wealth no other strategy can match. Pony Ma started with nothing: no connections to power, no inherited capital, no global network, just intelligence, timing, and relentless execution. He was laughed at when he tried to sell QQ for $60,000. That same platform is now woven into the fabric of Chinese civilization itself. Every investor who dismissed him, every rival who underestimated him, every regulator who thought they could contain him, they all wrote the same story. They were wrong. The story of Tencent is ultimately the story of what becomes possible when one obsessive builder is given 1 billion people and the patience to think in decades. In business, the greatest competitive advantage is not technology, it is the network. And Tencent built the largest human network in history. When over 1 billion people communicate, pay, play, and live inside your platform, you have not built a business, you have built infrastructure for civilization. The next generation of entrepreneurs should not ask, "How do I build a great product?" They should ask, "How do I build a platform that makes other great products possible?" That shift in thinking from product builder to platform architect is the single most important strategic transition in modern business history. Apple, Google, Amazon, and Tencent all understood this early. They stopped selling things and started selling ecosystems and became the most valuable companies on Earth. Pony Ma's story also teaches us that the most powerful leaders are often the quietest ones, those who build relentlessly while others seek the spotlight. He never chased fame,